Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Big Three. We got D Wade, Bosch, and Bron in the building. NBA Threads community. Y'all love when this three come together. So we came together, give you a little NBA trade deadline episode. Talk about the people that got traded, the ones that didn't, the winners, the losers. It was a lot that happened, and I love it. NBA Threads, I know y'all love it. It's Super Bowl week, but we was in there talking straight NBA. Didn't nobody care about Pat Mahomes, the Swifties, and none of that. We was talking straight NBA. What are the teams before we even get into it though? Fellas, how y'all doing tonight?
I'm doing good. The day was hectic, just personally, but I got to get away from real life a little bit by all the NBA trade deadline news that was going on. So it's nice to link back up with you guys and talk about it a little bit. So all is well now.
Yeah, it's good to be here. My day was hectic with a bum ankle at work. Twisted my ankle last night playing ball for the first time in months. But I'm good though.
Hey, I'm glad. I'm glad you good. We don't need no major injuries from the stop and pop, man.
Nah,
Like
for real.
we need you up and healthy for sure. But we gonna start off with you because I think it's safe to say everybody on the show would agree that one of the winners of the trade was the New York Knicks. Bing bong. We are the New York Knicks. They definitely made some trades, made some good moves. What do the trades to y'all? What do these mean for the Knicks? What do you see for the Knicks for the rest of the season? Getting Bogey and getting Alec Burks back there, and to get off that Fournier contract.
hmm So for me personally, at first when I see we got Alec Burks back, I was like, wait, hold on, why are we bringing him back? What's going on? I was already over the experiment when he played point guard that year, and it was bad to me. But then when I found they got Bogey, I was like, okay, now I understand. Package deal. Got it. I like the deal. Bogey's a 20-point scorer. Someone on Thread said, is he kind of like Evan Fournier? Because, he just scores and everything. But then I told him, Bogey played on that Utah Jazz team, which was a top-ranked defense with Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and Mike Conley. So he probably still has some type of defensive capabilities and principles that he learned from Utah. So I think it can help out with the Knicks. Plus, you get a 20-point scorer even if he starts or comes off the bench. And Burks, Burks gonna be Burks. Backup guard. He could create offense for you off the bench, which I felt like the Knicks was really gonna miss with quickly out. But you got Burks back, so it makes sense.
Hey Dave, do you view the Knicks as a legitimate threat in the East? I personally think this could be hot take-ish, but I think with how the team is set up, how they've been playing, how Jalen Brunson been playing, even with Julius Randle out, Eastern Conference Finals is a possibility for the Knicks.
Yeah, I do too. I think it ultimately I think it all depends on seeding, where they end up. But I think when you look at their team fully healthy, with Randall. There, I think there's maybe an outside chance that Mitchell comes back this year, although I don't know. I know they got the injury exception with him. You add Bogey and Burks to Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, OG. Um, I mean, and these are just like these guys strike me as like Tibbs guys. Like Bogey's tough. Burks has already played for Tibbs. So I think you look at the year that Jalen Brunson's been having, but with Randall out, you saw kind of against the Lakers. Even though I was happy it happened, when the Lakers kind of went box and one against them at the end of the game, there was really nobody else to take that scoring pressure off of them, right? So now you get a boat. Now you got Bojan, who like Jared says is a flat out scorer, 46, 40, 85 splits. I think ridiculous. He'll go get a bucket and is not afraid of any kind of moment. Like he'll fire that thing from anywhere on the court. And then you got Burks, who we all know can create and facilitate and do things like that. So I think once they get everybody back healthy, because the news also came out today that OG is going to be out for I think a minimum 3 weeks
Mm-hmm.
with the knee procedure. Uh, I like them. I like them to challenge Milwaukee, Boston, Philly. Like I really do think that depending on the matchup and depending on who's healthy, who's not, I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think this is as good of a team that the Knicks have rolled out in years. Like maybe even beyond some of those mellow New York Knicks teams that were really good. Like this is a really deep and well balanced team, and I'm just excited to see all the pieces kind of come together and see what they look like, fully functional.
I gotta ask Jared, being you are the resident Knicks fan, the resident Knicks aficionado on the squad, on the show, how are you feeling? Like, what's the ceiling you think for you as a Knicks fan? You actually, we'll talk about it later in the show. Your team actually made moves today. So how are you feeling about the season for the rest of going on for your Knicks?
I feel like we go to the finals. I feel like we're just gonna go to the finals. We're gonna win it. I feel like this is finally it. And I would say to myself, if we win it, I'm coming back to New York for the parade. I'm coming back because I cannot miss that, because it feels good to actually have a front office that actually makes good moves, from the Phil Jackson times. That was horrible. Like literally last night I was talking to my boy and we was talking about like the Knicks draft picks over the years, and I was like, honestly the best draft pick they had was probably RJ over these few seasons. And now they finally, I feel like they're drafting good now, but they're also making moves with those draft picks, which means like, all right, we see what we have. We see this not enough. We're able to swap these out for players who we feel like that will fill the role that we're looking for. So it feels good to have a smart front office for once.
Now, the Knicks was not obviously the only team that made moves. The Eastern Conference made moves throughout the day. Pat Bev, before we even talk about what Philly got, Pat Bev was traded to the Bucks to go play with Damian Lillard, one of his former nemesis that they decided they had a little beef, but they squashed the beef once he ended up over there for the Milwaukee Bucks. Do y'all think this is a significant trade in making them better, which one of their issues is perimeter defense? What was y'all thoughts when y'all saw Pat Bev as a Milwaukee Buck?
You start, Dave.
Yeah, I don't really see it as that significant of a move, to be honest. I think at this point, Pat Beverly, the character and the experience, I think, is more significant than the basketball player. Pat Bev's gonna give you some headlines. He's gonna make one or two plays that kind of get crowds, get the team riled up. He's gonna be animated. He's gonna be doing this on the court. But from an actual on court standpoint, I mean he's better than Campaign defensively, but I mean that's a pretty low bar to begin with. So yeah, I think he's an improvement from that standpoint. But I guess he's a guy who you can trust to come in and spell Dame and run an offense and make it a little tougher for the opposing lead guard. But I don't see this putting Milwaukee's defensive woes to rest. I think those things will still remain, but I think he does make them a little bit better. But I don't see it as a truly significant upgrade, to be honest.
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead. You talk on it.
So I think I agree with what Dave said, but we gotta remember Pat did play in the dock before. So I think it's more of a leadership type of thing where he can tell players where to be on certain possessions of the game defensively, because he knows Doc's schemes. He knows how he likes to run defenses and offenses. So I feel like it's a good move. I don't feel like it'll push the needle too much, but you do have that person who is willing to take that defensive responsibility and guard the best player on the opposite team, because he's guarded KD, he's guarded LeBron, he's guarded all the stars before. So because Malik Beasley wasn't it, we know Dame ain't going to be it. So Pat Bev will be that person to do it. He's no too small, but gotta live with it.
I mean, I think they got to look forward to next year at this point, honestly. They'll make the playoffs. They'll make some noise, especially with Pat Bev. It'll be some noise. There'll be some headlines, like Dave said. It'll be something that comes up. He'll pull a camera out on the court in Milwaukee, show that it was a foul. Something like that'll pop up for sure. But the thing is, like, one of the things that people, aren't talking about too, that's a factor. One of the issues is their scoring. Since Doc has gotten there, they were averaging about 124. They averaging now 115. Doc coaching like he back with the Clippers and Chris Paul. The offense went down. And part of the issue is, unfortunately, the human side of it. Dame is going through a divorce. He came out and said it. Dame is not the Dame that we know. Far as we know, we don't know the details, but it sounds like old girl was doing Dame time with somebody else. So that could mess up with your mental. And it's public. So it's obviously factoring on the court. So that's another thing that I think shouldn't be discounted. We often, as fans, be like, "Oh, why is this person playing bad? They're paid millions of dollars. They should just perform." Hey, you working your little funky job, and you can't perform correctly when you got a headache. Oh, I got a migraine. I don't want to go to work. This man is going through a public divorce. He's in a whole new system, whole new place. He still is a family man, still have kids to take care of. And oh yeah, he got to play for Doc. That's another level of stress right there.
And it's Milwaukee.
He wanted to go to Miami.
Yeah, you dream about Miami all offseason, and then you end up in Milwaukee. I'd be depressed too. I'll be honest with you.
He went through a divorce.
How rich I am.
He went through a divorce and wanted to go to Miami, and like, now I gotta go to Milwaukee. Yeah, I understand now.
I might
no shade to anybody who lives in Milwaukee, but could be me.
Freak Tom, no, he know. Freak Tom trying to move to Charlotte. He's trying to move Miami. He's trying to move to DC. He know what time it is. People in Milwaukee know what time it is. If you're not born there, nobody willingly is like, I'm gonna go move there like that. It is what it is. Now, Pat Bev was traded from Philly to Milwaukee, which in itself, that tells me that they don't think you're a threat. I'm trading you in conference. You're good.
Yeah.
We're good. But they did add a piece to them. Philly added, who was it? Buddy Hield, which I would have loved to see him in a Lakers jersey. But again, we will speak later about the Lakers and what they didn't do and what they might be doing. This is a big buyout market's about to happen. But with Buddy Hield coming in, what is your perspective on the Sixers and the bigger picture of Joel Embiid? Should Embiid even come back this season? Reports are already saying that he's going to be out, reevaluated for at least another 4 weeks. And then from there, if everything is all on the up and up, he still has to rehab and get ready for 6 to 8 weeks more than likely, which means he'll probably be there for a week or two at a regular season and then hopping back into the playoffs. Should Embiid just sit out this season?
I think it depends, right? It just depends on how how his body responds, and what the risk is, how well the team is playing. If the bottom falls out, and they slip significantly in the standings, maybe you just punt, right? Let the team go out and into the playoffs, whatever seed they are, and let them do their best, and then you refocus for next year. But if he responds well, he's recovering well, the team's playing well. I don't know how you don't put him back out there. I think it's just got to wait and see. I mean, it's a big body. And knee injuries are always kind of scary for whether you're big or a guard. Honestly, they can just be kind of scary in terms of when you go to plant or when you go to cut. And you got 280 pounds that's moving with, that you have to worry about making that cut. How well is he going to trust his body? So those are things they're going to have to assess in terms of his readiness. So I think it'll just depend on how well the team is doing, but ultimately just, how confident he feels about it. But I would love to see him play. I think he's been playing. I mean, he's had a historical season. And I would love to see him come back and finish it in some respects. But it would just suck to see one of the game's best players not be able to come back and finish out the year after the start he's had. But yeah, I think should come back, and I like the Hield. I don't know if that was part of the question or not, but I like the Hield edition. Shooting. I mean, Buddy's got Buddy can shoot. He can shoot that thing from anywhere. And he's in the last year of his contract too, so that'll make things interesting in the off season. But I think you can never have too many shooters. So when you got Maxey penetrating, you've got Joel working. When he comes back, it's nice to have somebody you can kick it out to if you get a double, where you do the dribble drive and kick out. And you got somebody who's like a 40 whatever % knockdown shooter. So I like it for Philly. Yeah, but I think all eyes are on Embiid and what happens with him.
I love it for Philly too. I'm just concerned if I'm looking at the perspective of the GM, the owner, and Embiid also. This is the second or third knee injury on that specific knee. If you're not 100%,
yeah,
I'd rather you not risk being re-injured. And again, it all depends where the season is at, how they do. It's tough for me looking at it on the outside and the big picture. Like, all right, yeah, this might be their best chance to win a championship. But Joel, do you want to walk after this is done? That's my big, because you can't have this many knee injuries as a big guy like that, and then it don't start affecting you outside of basketball.
Yeah,
when we talking about, oh yeah, look at the NBA 125th team and Joel limping in there like,
yeah.
I don't know about that, Joel. Like, I get the East is kind of wide open, but that's my viewpoint on it. Jared, like, how you feel about it? What should Embiid try to go get that championship? Because Buddy Hield, like you said, that's a great addition. Because if he comes back, who's doubling?
I think it's a great pickup, but like you said, it is hard to say if he should come back or not. I agree with David. Like, if the season's going well and they feel like they have a real chance to win the championship, then definitely try to put him back. But I say lower his minutes some. Probably have him playing like 30 minutes a game, and just to see how it goes. Because they're really deep now, so you don't really need Embiid to be playing 30 game minutes, 40 minutes. Try and go out there get 30 and 40 every game now, because you got Buddy. You're still able to keep Tobias Harris, Kelly Oubre. I don't know how they pulled that trade off without trading one of them, to be honest with you. And you still got Batum. You still got I think Covington is still hurt, right? Or is he back? Yeah. Covington is still back, so you have a lot of parts that you can basically, that's how can I put it? Hybrid forwards who can defend multiple positions. So you can really have him be kind of just coast the regular season to a playoff time where he's really fully back in shape. So I feel like, if they really want to compete for a championship this year, see how the team goes without Embiid, what place you get, what standing you get, and then eventually make a decision from there.
Yeah.
Looking in the rest of the Eastern Conference, Cavs didn't make a move. Celtics got Xavier Tillman. Who else made some moves? I know Hornets got off a couple pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Hayward's in OKC.
Mm-hmm.
Pacers made some additions. They got Doug McDermott and they got Corey Joseph at the deadline right at 3:00 in the East.
And then they waived them.
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't be laughing. I'm sorry. That's not funny. Hey. I shouldn't laugh. But I'm only laughing because I know Warriors fans on Threads absolutely couldn't stand Corey Joseph, and they didn't know why Kerr would play him. So when he got traded, I know they were excited.
But why though? Hold on.
They got to deal with anymore.
Why do you like Corey Joseph though? Like, what was he doing so wrong?
I think just because I think Corey Joseph was a really effective player at one point in his career, especially with the Spurs. I think he played well with the Raptors too, but I don't think he's really a net positive player anymore. And then you got guys like Moses Moody, and you had Pods sitting on the bench earlier in the year, and Kerr was giving Corey Joseph rotation minutes when you got those guys. Pods, who's been playing extremely well lately, like just imagine how much further along he could have been in his development if he had gotten minutes earlier on in the season. So, but I don't know. You'd have to ask a Warriors fan. That's just me on the outside looking in. I don't know specifically what what he did to them personally, but yeah, I just want to drop that. He unfortunately he got waived. So
y'all tell me what y'all think about the rest of the Eastern Conference and some of the moves that was made, like the Celtics. Cavs didn't make a move. Do you think that's going to hurt them? But before y'all even answer that, I just, for my humor, just humor me. Do we see anybody possibly picking up Killian Hayes? He said that, his team, they said that he wanted a new era scenery. You feel me? He wanted a different scenery, and the Pistons gave him a different scenery. There's actually no locker room right now at all. So I saw on the Athletic and Twitter they were talking about possibly China, Bangladesh.
Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy.
Chinese, buddy.
I see Killian Hayes getting picked up by anybody.
No. No.
What?
When I think, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, what do you think was going through him and his team's mindset of you're on Detroit Pistons, you're not performing, and you ask for a change of scenery?
That was a change of scenery.
LeBron James, and I know you're like, David, why are you talking about LeBron? But LeBron James is arguably, right, the greatest player to ever play the game. And he's done so many tremendous things for his friends, whatever community he's been involved with. He gets into politics, and he's done a lot for the game, for the NBA. But sometimes I think the worst thing he ever did was his whole player empowerment era, because you got dudes like Killian Hayes thinking they can ask for a trade. Like wait, what? Like, Marcus Sasser is getting minutes before you, and you've been in the league 3 more years than him, and you think like you can just be like, yo, I just need a trade. Like, at this point in my career, I need a trade so that I can. Like, no, like. I get he was a lottery pick. I get all that. But like nah, man, you can't just ask for a trade. So I think this is what you get. Like, everybody just thinks they can ask for a trade. And then some people get humbled. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it is Bangladesh or whatever. But the only thing I'll ever hold against Bron is player empowerment, because you get stuff like this happening. But
Hey,
yeah, good old Killian.
I just hope that the people that's watching this, when y'all watch this though, right? Y'all just saw mastery at work. Y'all saw the setup? Did y'all see the setup? What Dave just did. That's a man that's been podcasting for a while. You saw the setup? I'm gonna talk about LeBron. I'm gonna bring it. That's storytelling right there. That's higher level storytelling right there. There's levels. It's elite. You got 2K is Hall of Fame. That was Hall of Fame right there. I'm gonna bring you on this road trip, LeBron, and I'm gonna bring it right back. Dave Chappelle level. I'm gonna bring full circle. We was talking about Killian Hayes. I'm still there. I know we talking about Killian. Boom, right back full circle.
I was wondering where he was going with this.
Genius. Y'all don't have to pay for a master class. I just got one for free right there. That's
the only thing I ever hold against. I won't even hold the whole take my talents to Miami at them little kids acting like this was about charity. Got Jim Gray coming out there, like all that whole front. Like, I don't even hold that against them. You want to go to Miami, bro? I go to Miami. But I guess, well, technically, player empowerment kind of came from that. But that's the only thing a lot of these dudes, man, I tell you.
Hey,
I'm actually, I think Killian has, because Jared and I actually even had an exchange about Killian early in the season. I think he's got some defensive ability. I think he's got a lot of good defensive upside. And he played okay in spurts last year. I mean, the season was lost, so I mean, you kind of take it for what it is.
Yeah, like the end of the season, he was starting to come on a bit.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just not there yet. But I hope he figures it out, and I hope he finds a spot for himself in the league, because I do think he has talent. It's just unrealized at this point.
How old is he?
He's 20.
Probably
He might be like 24, 23, 24.
Mm-hmm.
He's not too old at all.
I just think he needs to find his role in this league. Like, if that's like being a defensive player, or maybe like a Ricky Rubio type of player where he's like defense and passing. Stop taking mid-range contested jumpers. Stop letting the score so much, and just find his niche. And then that's what he's about. He's about 6'5". He does have some defensive ability. He seems like he's pretty fast, so he has some tools that he can use. He just needs to figure out what his role ultimately can be in this league.
So 6'5", 22 years old, and he's the son of a former basketball player in Gordan Hayward. So that might be an issue right there too. We see that a lot of the former basketball players' children do not really pan out well for whatever reason, whether it's entitlement, whether it's they don't put the work in, whether the genes weren't passed down, something happens all the time. So that might be a factor in it, because we all know Michael Jordan's kids. Good Lord. Good Lord. Jokers
let's not even get started on his kids, because one of them is tripping.
Yeah.
They went through, so this is before the transfer portal was allowed like it is. They was transferring back and forth to 6-7 different schools, but we're not even gonna go into that. That again is why I'm gonna give Bron the GOAT status on that too, because I'm sure Bronny and Bryce will be way better than the Jordan children. But
let me ask you something about that. So I had a conversation with my friend about Bronny last night. Do y'all think Bronny this season, going into next, if he goes to the NBA, will he be good enough to play in this league? I feel like he would benefit from another year in college. That's just me. Because, like the cardiac arrest and everything, really starting to get his game back. So I feel like, maybe if he benefits for another year, then he can go to the league. But what do you guys think?
I don't think it matters. I think I don't think it matters at all. I think he's going to declare. I think he's going to get drafted, and I think he's going to play with his dad. That's just what I mean. Everything is kind of set up for that to happen, right? Like, I think LeBron doesn't have to exercise his option until 2 or 3 days after the draft. I'm only assuming that he and Rich set that up intentionally, right? So,
definitely.
I don't think it matters, but I do think that if he does get drafted and maybe he could have used another year in college. I mean, still got the G League, right? He could get sit down for a couple of stints, and play there and develop there, and then get called up every once in a while to play with his dad. But that's just me speaking conceptually. I don't actually watch a lot of college basketball, so I can't really speak to it. You guys could probably speak to it, his readiness better than I can. But at the end of the day, I'm all for black nepotism. So if that young brother wants to declare and he gets drafted because some team wants his dad to come play for him, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm all for it too. I just want him to hold his own. That's all.
Yeah,
that's the thing. I was going to literally say what Dave said. I said this in a post that I put up earlier, and I think it was misconstrued. Like, I was saying that Bronny was ready. I don't think from watching the games, Bronny is per se ready to make immediate impact. Granted, he is playing on USC, who has just been absolutely terrible this year. Like, terrible. He might as well be ready for the league, because he's basically playing with the Pistons essentially in college, because USC has been god awful. But again, LeBron already said he wants to play with him. LeBron if he even considers retiring once Bronny gets signed. That's a 2-3 year contract. That team that has Bron, owners only care about money. You know how much money they're gonna make to have him on the team for the LeBron tour, LeBron retire tour? That team is going to clean up. Oh yes, we're
Especially
drafting.
if they get Bryce too.
We're drafting. We'll draft. We'll wait. We'll draft Zuri too to get Bron. They'll draft Zuri too. What you want? You want Gloria in the front office? What you want? You want Savannah? Does Savannah need to have a job? They gonna roll out the red carpet to get Bron. Because think about it, it's gonna have to be one of these teams that's not actually pretty good. So you get Bron to come to your team, and you're probably not going to win a championship, but you have Bron. So you're gonna make money like you're a championship team. Bronny's getting drafted, whether we like it or not, whether he's ready or not. Bronny's getting drafted. Your father, your daddy is LeBron James, and he wants to play with you. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Like point blank, period. And the West side, the trades. To talk about the West, we had Monte Morris to the Timberwolves. We had Gordon Hayward to the Thunder, Daniel Gafford to the Mavericks, PJ Washington also to the Mavericks. The Suns got in there with Royce O'Neal, David Roddy from the Grizzlies sent over there. And Robin Lopez got sent to the Kings, but he's going to be released. He actually is still in Milwaukee right now at the game, reading a book at the scorer's table. So that was just a money drop for them. In the Western side, right? Who do you feel is like the winners on the West? How y'all feel about the Suns, the Thunder's move? What was y'all biggest takeaways on the Western Conference with these trades that happened?
I really like what Dallas did. I think Dallas and Phoenix both got some of what they really needed. I know Lively has been kind of banged up. I think you kind of know what you're going to get from Kleber and Powell, which is a lot of energy. Kleber can stretch the floor and block some shots, but I think Daniel Gafford's going to have way bigger impact than any either of those two, maybe even combined. And then you talk about PJ Washington, a guy who's still kind of figuring himself out, but 6'7", 6'8", long wingspan, can put the ball on the floor a little bit, can stretch and can shoot, can create relatively well for a big off the bounce. So I think he can do everything Grant Williams did, but more. So I think that was a really good get for them. And then you talk about Roddy and Royce, just two tough guys. Like Roddy's looks like he should be a linebacker in the league. He's like 6'6", 250, but can fill it up from outside too. So the big thing with the Suns is, hey, you sent away all your depth to get KD and Beal. Now you got a bunch of minimum guys. Well, Grayson Allen's been playing well. You've been getting what you could expect from Okogie, excuse me. But now you get Roddy and Royce. Royce is, he has some experience playing with KD, so there's some familiarity there. You just need guys who can do their job at this point, right? You've got KD, you've got Book, you've got Beal. Those three could score all the points in the game, and everybody and you could win, right? So you just need people to lock down, get stops, and be ready to catch and shoot when somebody gets doubled. You've got Grayson Allen doing that, but now you add two more weapons. I really like what Phoenix did. I think they can really start to separate themselves from that lower tier in the playoff race. And the same thing for the Mavs, provided Kyrie and Lucas stay healthy, which I think is a big if, especially with Kyrie.
I actually like what the Thunder did more. Just adding Gordon Hayward to that young mix. You got that veteran guy there who can get you, when healthy, because he's been banged up a lot lately, get you a good 14, maybe 20 on any given night. Get you shooting, playmaking. And I feel like they need someone who could come off the bench to do those things, to fill that role. So ultimately, I feel like that was a steal, to be honest with you. Even though like Hayward's contract is like a lot, but still, I feel like it was a good move.
I think it's a great move too, being that that's a young squad. The only thing is like his health. How's that going to be? Regardless, even if he doesn't do nothing for them. He cannot play a game. That contract is done after next season. It'll work out fine for them. OKC is worth a shot to take a flyer on Gordan Hayward. They don't have anybody on the team that's above 28 years old. There's not. They traded away Bertans. That was the only 31-year-old man on the squad. Everybody else either legit can still be on a college campus or just graduated college, literally. And most of the team hasn't even sniffed the playoffs. So Hayward even just being there for leadership, like, hey, you should look for this. This is how you should train for the playoffs. Hayward has some playoff experience, especially with that Boston team. He's been there. He has the T-shirt. He's gone around the corner, done it a couple of times. I think that'll help for them. I am very intrigued on the Suns. I like the pickups to add a little bit more depth to that team. Mavericks, what Dave said. Kyrie's health is going to be, I think, the X factor. We know Luka's going to be Luka. I like the pieces they picked up. They got more role players, better defense. They'll be fine. Kyrie's health. Kyrie, of course, showed up in the Nets game. You know, I wanted to make sure I say that Joe Tsai is a liar and Mayor Adams is the reason why I didn't play when I was in Brooklyn. Every game is not Mayor Adams and Joe Tsai there. Kyrie he found his bounties again, catching alley-oops. That's not every game. Every game, Joe Tsai not there. Are you going to have that motivation? Is he going to be healthy? Looking in the West, though, it's a couple teams that did not make any moves. Golden State, no trades. We talked about the Corey, but they didn't do anything to add to help. And neither did the Lakers. Now, these are two prominent teams with two superstars still playing great at an advanced age, NBA-wise. I'll start with the Warriors because they both, you're going to have a different perspective on both, and we're not going to group them together. The Warriors, they're deciding to actually, hey, we're going to finish this year out with our big three. Draymond and Clay, they're not moved. Chris Paul, we're going to keep him. Gary Payton II, he's injured, but we're going to keep him. What's y'all viewpoint on these Golden State Warriors not doing anything? No additions when Steph is playing the way Steph is playing.
I'll start. So I feel like they should have made a move. They should have probably got rid of Wiggins, even though Wiggins had a good game the night before last against the Sixers. But I feel like Wiggins just been kind of really inconsistent the whole season. And ultimately, it seemed like he just been lazy, honestly. And I've heard that was something about his conditioning, like the Warriors didn't like his conditioning this season. But Kuminga's been playing really good, so I feel like they want to ride this team out to see what they can ultimately do with a healthy roster with Chris Paul and Gary Payton II. Clay's been looking bad, and he's not taking it well at all. He's been basically on the bench. Basically, what I would say was Clay is looking like what people determine Westbrook to be. How he's been complaining and not accepting his role and how he's not the same player. That's basically Clay, but they called Russ that same thing. Russ seemed to be accepting his role. Clay hasn't. So
what's your cash app? Because you was pre. I want to give an offering.
Listen,
because that narrative is a little bit different between Russ and Clay. I just throw that out there. I'll be quiet.
But you're right about that. It's not the same energy that they're giving Clay right now. I'm not liking it. So, and I like Clay. I like Clay as a person. I like Clay as a player, but he just needs to accept that he's not the same player. He needs to probably start coming off the bench. being a guy who's not trying to chuck up 20, 30 shots, contested threes all the time. Probably trying to find ways to get more open than he has before because he's not the same player. So I feel like they should have probably moved Wiggins ultimately, though.
Yeah, I struggle with talking about the Warriors because I get labeled for being a Warriors hater sometimes. But I think it's just really hard right now with when you have aging superstars or aging stars who are used to winning and used to being able to kind of turn it on when they need to, and all of a sudden, like, it's not happening, right? So I think the Warriors probably took a look at the landscape and saw who was available and saw the deals that they could do. And I don't know, and it'll probably apply to the Lakers as well, but I don't know that they saw anything that would raise their ceiling this season significantly. So I think they know the guys they have in that locker room. They've done it before. The Warriors, kind of like the Lakers, are a team that you really don't want to play in a playoff series because they're tested, right? They've been in all those big moments. They've been down 3-1. They've overcome large deficits in the playoffs. They know what that atmosphere is like when the game slows down, when you're only scouting one team and you can take things away. Like, that's stuff that you can't really. That's not something you can really teach. You just kind of have to go through it, right? And they've been through it time and time again. So you've got Chris Paul, who's on the mend. You've got GP2. You've got Pods and Kuminga playing well. So I think, right now they're 24 and 25. They're half a game back of the last play-in spot. Maybe you roll the dice and see what happens. 6-4 in their last 10. Maybe you see if you can continue to win more than you lose, and you take your shot, and then you reassess in the offseason. So I'm not surprised that they didn't make a move. I know a lot of people were saying, like, trade Wiggins, trade Wiggins, trade Wiggins. But if you're trying to get rid of somebody, most people aren't going to be lining up to take them, right? So that means you're going to have to overpay to get rid of somebody. And, I don't know that that's something that they're willing to do, is attach too many assets to a Wiggins just to get maybe a marginally better basketball player who may not even fit with what you're trying to do. So I'm not surprised that they stood pat, but I can understand fans being frustrated as well because they're used to winning, and right now they're not. So, but kudos to the front office. It's really easy just to make a trade. I think it's tougher to believe in what your plan is and stick to it, and not just make a trade for the sake of doing it. So, kudos.
Yeah, I think when you look at Golden State, like you said, they're half a game out from playing. Being that they are a championship team, they've come back from down 3-1. They have that experience. I really feel their mindset is we just got to get in there. We just got to get in the plan because I'm pretty sure a Golden State team, if they see OKC or Minnesota, I'm pretty sure they are confident they could beat them in a 7-game series, especially a young OKC squad against a healthy Golden State squad with playoff experience from Steph, Klay Thompson. Even this Klay Thompson still would be able to have impact that series. Draymond Green. And of course, the point guard, Chris Paul, too. I think that's kind of where their mindset is of still having that ego. Like, we just got to get in. Because these young boys, if that's what we got to face, we good. Now, if they face a Denver or something like that, that's another story. They'll be sitting right there. You see where Dave got that space right there in the corner right there? They're going to be sitting right there with him, looking at Shaq talking about the playoffs. So the seating really going to matter for them, and it's going to matter, I think so, for the Lakers. What was y'all takes on the Lakers not making any moves? Me personally, I thought they would have did something, but to Dave's point, if you aren't getting something back of a higher value to make the impact on the team to win, then the best thing might be to stand pat. And the way that it's been going as of late, maybe that's what was needed. LeBron put out that tweet, and it was something like an episode of Scared Straight. D'Lo was averaging 27. Jared Vanderbilt before the injury. He's a 3-and-D all of a sudden. You see Jackson Hayes. Oh, my gosh. He played 12 minutes, 10 points, 10 rebounds. Everybody suddenly wants to play better. They don't want to have to get a new lease and have to pack up and, oh, I got to pay on 2 mortgages. No, they want to stay. Maybe that's what was needed. What was y'all takes, though, on the Lakers and Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss keeping everybody with a Lakers uniform?
Well, go ahead, Jared.
No, you go ahead, David. That's your team.
Yeah, it's what I had hoped would happen, to be honest. I was never a big fan. Tone, you and I talked about this when I came on. I wasn't really a fan of the Zach LaVine trade. Zach kind of removed himself from the trade market, getting his ankle surgery. He saw that Detroit might be on his manifest, and he was like, nah, I'm good. And then that left Murray, who is good, right? He's a good player, no disrespect, but I don't think he's significantly better than either Austin Reeves or D'Angelo Russell. So it's like, do you trade one of those two and then attach a draft pick for DeJounte Murray? I just never saw it. And, maybe there were some deals that they discussed that the general public never got caught wind of, and those didn't work out. But if those were, the handful of deals that we heard about, the 3-team trade between Atlanta and Brooklyn, bringing back like Royce and some other pieces, it just never really made sense. So I had hoped that they would kind of just roll forward with this team, maybe make some moves around the margins, maybe move a Christian Wood, maybe wait for the buyout market, which it looks like that's what they're going to do. I know people are talking about them potentially getting Dinwiddie, which, would be a good pickup, I think. Will he fit? Who knows? But I mean, he's a proven player in this league, and he and D'Lo have history playing together. So yeah, I think you allow this team to try and get healthy. You've got a little bit of a rhythm going. 4-2 on the Grammy road trip. Home tonight against Denver. If they can get a win against Denver, even if it's at home, I mean that'd be a big boost for the confidence, considering they couldn't beat this team in 4 tries last summer. So ride it out, see what happens, and just like the Warriors, I think this is a team that can really play a level higher in the postseason. Again, the game slows down, schemes become a lot more sophisticated because you're only worrying about one team, and then it's just a matter of matchups. So you get matched up with the right team, even if they're a higher seed. You only got to get 1 or 2 on the road, and then you're rolling. So I'm happy, believe it or not. I know most fans aren't happy when their team doesn't do anything at the trade deadline, but I'd much rather them keep this team together than just make a trade for the sake of avoiding LeBron posting emojis on the internet. So I'm happy, and maybe that means we don't win a championship this year, but I think you got a healthy AD, you got a healthy LeBron, you got D'Lo. If he can continue to play within the range of how he's been playing lately, I think this team could beat anybody, to be honest with you.
I agree with you, bro. It is what it is. As long as we get in there, I'm looking at it, being completely honest. If the Lakers match up against OKC in a 7-game series, I'm going to still probably go with LA. If they match up with Minnesota, 7-game series, I'm going to still go Lakers. Only team I'm really concerned about, really, when you talk about these higher seeds, is Denver and the Clippers. We still don't, honestly, being an honest Lakers fan, we still don't have an answer for Jokic.
Right.
We still don't have an answer for Jokic.
Mm-hmm.
The Clippers, I think we're better, but in a 7-game series, depending on how it goes, we saw the last game. It was a close game. They got a lot of firepower over there. The Clippers have a lot of firepower, and it comes down, I think, in the playoffs, to your point, it'll come down to coaching. Ty Lue or Darvin Ham, the Mr.
Lost in space.
Bron, what do you want to do with this play? Like, That's my
Darvin Ham
concern on that is Ty Lue in the playoffs with time to just sit down and like, all right, how we gonna guard D'Lo? How we gonna guard AD? How we gonna guard Bron? That's my concern right there. I don't know about that. But you mentioned Spencer Dinwiddie on the buyout candidates. Who do y'all think? I'm gonna mention some of the buyout candidates, and we're gonna end off. Which of these buyout candidates come to your mind as actual big pieces, to possibly impact playoff teams? You got Spencer Dinwiddie is out there. They said Seth Curry is going to be on the buyout market, Marcus Morris, and of course, Mr. Kyle BBL Lowry is supposed to be a buyout candidate. And actually, Philly has been reported of desiring the services of Mr. BBL.
I feel like Kyle Lowry would be a good pick for Philly, especially he's going to be back home because he's from Philadelphia. They don't have a backup point guard now, right? If I remember correctly, because they traded Pat Bev, so they would need some player off the bench who's going to help run that offense for them. As far as Dinwiddie going to the Lakers, I feel like that would be good. Lakers could definitely use some type of extra scoring boost off the bench. I don't know who else would really be move a needle for any other team, being honest with you, other than them two.
Yeah, I like Daniel House Jr. I think he can help somebody, 10, 15, 20 minutes a night. Can give you effort on both sides of the ball. Can shoot a little bit. Can play some defense. Obviously, Dinwiddie has been a significant player on playoff teams before. He's normally done well everywhere he's been, except maybe Washington. But hey, I think
hold on. That was the number one seed playing in Washington.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just saying in terms of like when you hear him talk about his time there, it didn't seem like it was it was all good thing. But yeah, I think those are the big names. Not a huge buyout market. Got Joe Harris out there, but I think some of the bigger names, probably Daniel House Jr. and Dinwiddie, will probably be the two biggest fish. So I'll be interested to see where they go. Any team that picks them up is going to get at least somewhat better.
Yo, that was the NBA trade deadline. That's some of the biggest trades that happened. Our reviews on it. By the way, though, you got something to look forward to because the Big Three is going to be giving y'all another episode this month. Be on the lookout for it. It'll be coming. Before we even close out, stop and pop. Y'all know how we closing this out. Stop and pop. Subscribe. Share. Comment. Why? We're trying to educate the algorithm to let the algorithm know this is great content. Get it out to the masses. Rushed Vibes. I don't know when it's dropping, but they just recorded recently, so it's dropping soon. Be on the lookout. This is Threads. This is your favorite couple. Be on the lookout. Subscribe, share, comment, rate 5 stars, leave a review. You already know. Still not worried. Bench mob, all that. Show the love. We good. Y'all know the vibes. I'm going to close it out how I always close it out because it's the same no matter if it's the stop and pop, rush vibes, Laker Nation. If you stay ready, you don't got to get ready. The Big Three, we out. Peace.